His face twisted. Diana, wouldn't be this rubbish? Diana blinked. Honey, it's a goosey, your favorite. User dipped a spoon into the soup, tasted it, and immediately spat it back into the plate. Jesus Christ. You want kill me? This thing's salty die. Who even taught you how to cook SEF? Your mama no train you. Diana's heart sank. She had worked so hard. User, please, maybe it's small mistake. But it's not that bad. Before she could finish, User stood up in fury, grabbed the pot of hot soup, and in one swift motion, poured it all over her body. Diana screamed. The burning liquid soaked her wrapper, clinging to her skin. She stumbled backwards, tears welling up instantly. User simply sat back, took a sip of his beer, and smirked. Next time, cook properly. Useless woman. Before we'll begin this gripping true story, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like and share this video, and comment where you are watching from. It was a small, old bungalow in a noisy Nigerian neighborhood. The sound of generators filled the evening air. Children chased themselves on the dusty street. A mama-put woman was selling beans and akara by the junction. Inside the bungalow, a storm was brewing. Mr. Silas, tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes that could pierce through stone, stood in the sitting room, veins bulging on his neck. His wife, Salome, cowered in the corner, holding a tray of food. Salome, he roared. I told you before, when I come back from work, my food must be ready. Must I repeat myself every day? Salome trembled. Silas, please, the rice is almost ready. I just... Slap. The sound echoed like thunder. Salome staggered, almost falling. 8-year-old User, seated quietly in the corner with his toy car, flinched at the sound. His wide eyes darted between his parents. Mr. Silas advanced on Salome again. You day craze? You one day argue with me? Look, woman, if you know like am, pack your load and go. This is my house. Salome's lips quivered, but she kept silent. Later that night, after the house grew quiet, Mr. Silas sat outside on the veranda, smoking a cigarette. User crept out, clutching his toy. His father pulled him close. Listen well, User. Never take nonsense from a woman. You hear me? The boy nodded timidly. Women are weaker vessels. They are meant to serve us. If you let them climb on your head, you are no longer a man. Salome, listening from the kitchen, felt her heart sink. She whispered under her breath, God, please don't let this boy grow like his father. But it was already too late. The seed had been planted. The next morning, as usual, the women of the neighborhood gathered outside. Mortars pounded yam, babies cried on their mothers' backs, and voices rose in gossip. Auntie Ngozi, the self-proclaimed town crier, shook her head. Salome don't suffer, oh. That's Silas na real lion. Every day na beating. Insult. The woman don thin like broom. Mama Abeji, always dramatic, clapped her hands. If na me, I for don lace him food with sniper sense. See as Salome just day behave like Mumu. The women burst into laughter. Young User walked past with his school bag, hearing every word. He clenched his fists. Instead of shame, he felt a strange pride. His father was feared. His father was respected. And one day, he too would command that same fear. By the time User entered secondary school, the lessons had taken root. One afternoon, in class, a girl named Amaka snatched her notebook from User's desk. Give me my note, Jor. I need to copy. User scowled. Are you mad? How dare you talk to me like that? Before anyone could blink, slap. User's palm landed on her cheek. Amaka gasped, holding her face. The whole class erupted. User don slap Amaka. The teacher stormed in. What is going on here? Sir, User slapped Amaka again, one student explained. The teacher's face hardened. User, always fighting girls. What is wrong with you? User shrugged, voice defiant. My papa say make I no day take rubbish from women. Woman no suppose shout for man. The teacher sighed deeply, shaking his head. God help you, boy. The years rolled by, and Salome grew weaker. Her body bent under the weight of sickness and sorrow. One night, she lay coughing violently on her bed. Her son User rushed to her side. Mama, please don't leave me. Please, I'll take care of you. Salome stroked his face with trembling fingers. User, my son, promise me, don't be like your father. Love women. Respect them. Tears blurred User's eyes. I promise, Mama. But before he could say more, her breathing slowed and stopped. User wailed loudly, holding her lifeless body. Mr. Silas stood at the doorway, arms folded, face cold. She was weak. Good riddance. Those words branded User's heart forever. At the university, User had grown into a tall, handsome man. He walked with swagger, voice deep, eyes sharp. Girls admired him, boys envied him. At parties, he was the life of the crowd, dancing, drinking, cracking jokes. But underneath, his father's teachings still controlled him. Whenever a girl challenged him, his temper exploded. He slapped girlfriends, cursed female lecturers, and bragged to friends. "See, no woman can talk back to me. I am a real man." And his friends hailed him. "User, now you be lion." Then came Diana. She was beautiful, soft-spoken, and radiant. A choir girl with a smile that could melt ice. User saw her one evening on campus, sitting under a tree reading her Bible. He swaggered over. "Hi, pretty. What's your name?" She looked up shyly. "Diana." Her voice was like music. User grinned. "Diana, the queen herself. Please, let me be your Adam." She giggled, cheeks flushing. Their romance blossomed like a Nollywood movie. Midnight calls, long walks, sweet promises. Diana believed she had found her prince. She ignored the whispers. That boy day beat girls, oh. By the time they graduated, she was hopelessly in love. The wedding was grand. Dancing, jollof rice, gilly competition among aunties. Mr. Silas, proud as ever, whispered to User, "Remember, son, keep her in check." User smiled. "Don't worry, Papa. I will." At first, marriage was sweet. Diana decorated their small flat, cooked his favorite meals, washed his clothes. She called him honey. But soon, cracks began to show. User stayed out late every night. Sometimes he came back drunk, sometimes with lipstick stains on his shirt. "User, please," Diana begged one night. "It's dangerous to stay out this late. Can't you reduce it?" Slap. Her world spun. She held her cheek in shock. "Don't ever question me again," User snarled. Diana cried quietly that night, wondering what she had gotten herself into. And then, the next day, Diana stood in the kitchen, sweat trickling down her forehead as she stirred the steaming pot. She had just returned from a stressful day at work, yet here she was, bent over, trying to make sure her husband had something to eat. The aroma filled the room, and Diana smiled faintly. "At least User will like this one. I even added more crayfish this time." She carefully carried the pot to the dining table. But before she could even drop it properly, User, who was lounging on the sofa with a bottle of beer in hand, sniffed the air dramatically. His face twisted. "Diana, wouldn't be this rubbish?" Diana blinked. "Honey, it's a goosey, your favorite." User dipped a spoon into the soup, tasted it, and immediately spat it back into the plate. "Jesus Christ. You want kill me? This thing's salty, Di. Who even taught you how to cook SEF? Your mama no train you." Diana's heart sank. She had worked so hard. "User, please, maybe it's small mistake. But it's not that bad." Before she could finish, User stood up in fury, grabbed the pot of hot soup, and in one swift motion, poured it all over her body. Diana screamed. The burning liquid soaked her wrapper, clinging to her skin. She stumbled backwards, tears welling up instantly. User simply sat back, took a sip of his beer, and smirked. "Next time, cook properly. Useless woman." The next morning, Diana stood in the kitchen staring blankly at the stained wrapper she had soaked overnight. The smell of pepper still clung to it. Her skin was slightly red from the burn, but what hurt more was her heart. She thought, "How did I get here? I used to dream of marrying a man who would love me, cherish me. Now see me. My husband treats me like rag." Just then, User strolled into the kitchen, shirtless, humming to himself. He kissed the air in her direction and opened the fridge to grab another bottle of beer, even though it was just 9 a.m. "Baby," he said casually, "cook something sharp a beg. Yesterday's soup no makes sense." Diana turned slowly, her voice trembling. "User, after what you did to me yesterday, you still have the guts to." Before she could finish, his eyes darkened. He dropped the beer bottle on the table with a loud clang. "Diana, don't push me this morning. If you no want cook, get out." She swallowed her words. Fear tied her tongue. She picked up her wrapper and quietly began boiling water for Pap. By afternoon, the entire compound already knew what happened. Mama Chica, the woman who sold provisions at the corner, was giving free commentary to anyone who came to buy something. You never hear? Yesterday night, user pour hot soup for that Diana body. I talk him say that girl too gentle. Nah, why the man day use her head? Another neighbor shook his head. But Diana fine nah, why she day tolerate am? Mama Chica hissed. You fine no means say you get sense, my brother. From upstairs, Mama Ejima added her voice, yelling so the whole street could hear. If Nami, not a carry pot of hot oil for him head. He go no say woman no be punching bag. Everybody laughed. Meanwhile, Diana, hearing their voices through the thin walls, buried her face in her pillow and cried silently. Later that week, User went to visit his father. Papa, User said proudly, I showed Diana pepper. She no fit misbehave again. Mr. Silas laughed heartily, slapping his thigh. That's my boy. That's how a real man behaves. Women must learn their place. Your mother too was stubborn until I tamed her. True talk, Papa, User replied. If User had expected correction, he got only encouragement. His father's approval was fuel to the fire. One evening, User came home late, staggering drunk. Diana had kept food for him, hoping maybe today would be different. He tasted it, spat it out again, and slapped her twice. You call this stew? Even dog no go chop this rubbish. That night, while he snored on the couch, Diana quietly packed a small bag. She tiptoed out into the night, tears rolling down her cheeks. But just as she reached the gate, Mama Chica spotted her. Diana, where you day go with bag for night? Diana froze. She stammered. I. Before she could finish, User's voice thundered from inside. Diana, where are you? Like a deer caught in headlights, Diana's hands shook. She dropped the bag, wiped her face, and muttered, I was just going to throw dirt. She dragged the bag back inside. The next morning, User found it. So you wanted to run, eh? That day, the beating was worse than ever. Diana's old friend, Kim, came to visit her one weekend. As soon as Kim saw her swollen face, she gasped. Jesus, Diana, who do you this thing? Don't tell me it's that your husband, oh. Diana tried to smile through the pain. It's nothing. I fell. Fell inside his fist abi. Kim snapped. See, if you don't leave this man, one day now your obituary we go right. But Diana shook her head. Marriage is for better for worse. My pastor said I must endure. Kim slapped her arm lightly. Endure? A beg endure with sense. Endure does not mean you should die. The worst came one rainy night. User returned home drunk, staggering like someone just shot him in the leg. Diana, already trembling, tried to help him remove his shoes. Instead, he shoved her aside. Leave me alone. Who told you I want your help? She swallowed, whispered. User, it's late. You've been drinking too much. Slap. Then another. Then kicks. Finally, he dragged her outside, threw her bag into the rain, and shouted, Get out of my house. I'm done with you. The rain poured heavily. Diana knelt at the doorstep, crying, Please don't do this. I have nowhere to go. But User just stood by the window, sipping beer, laughing at her misery. From across the street, neighbors peeked through their curtains. Some shook their heads sadly. Some whispered, I see this girl's life. She married devil. After hours in the rain, shivering, Diana finally picked up her bag and walked away into the night. The next morning, User called his father, proud of himself. Papa, I sent Diana packing. She no fit disrespect me again. Mr. Silas roared with laughter. That's my boy. Women must learn the hard way. She will crawl back begging. Meanwhile, Diana stayed at her cousin's small apartment. For days she couldn't eat. She kept replaying that night in her head. The soup, the slap, the rain. Her cousin begged her. Diana, don't go back. That man will kill you. Diana whispered softly. But I still love him. Her cousin begged her again. Please, Diana, don't go back to User. He does not deserve you. She nodded in acceptance. Thank you, dear. It was a hot Saturday afternoon. The ceiling fan in Mr. Silas' sitting room spun lazily, pushing warm air around instead of cooling it. On the TV, a Yoruba Nollywood movie was playing, but Mr. Silas was hardly paying attention. He leaned forward, grinning as he poured a shot of dry gin into a glass for himself and User. My son, you did well to send that Diana girl away. She was too stubborn, he said, shaking his head like a disappointed headmaster. But don't worry, I have somebody better for you. User chuckled, stretching his legs. Papa better as how? Because I no day ready for another stubborn woman headache. Oh. Silas waved his hand dramatically. No, this one is different. She's from a well-to-do family. Educated, but still humble. In fact, her name is Simbi. You will like her. User raised an eyebrow. Simbi? As in Symbiat. Yes, Silas replied, already dialing a number on his phone. Just wait, you will see. You go thank me later. A black Toyota Corolla pulled into the compound. Out stepped Simbi. Tall, elegant, with smooth caramel skin and long braids that swayed behind her. She wore a fitted Ankara gown, carrying a neat leather handbag. Her confidence radiated effortlessly, yet there was a softness to her smile. User nearly choked on his drink. Papa, see is this babe fine die? You sure say na lawyer she be? She resemble Miss World. Mr. Silas chuckled. That's your wife material, son. Go and welcome her. Simbi walked in, greeted warmly. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. User. Her voice was calm but firm. She didn't fidget, didn't lower her eyes timidly the way Diana used to. She looked User directly in the eye, and for the first time in his life, User felt unsettled. But he quickly masked it with a grin. You are welcome, Simbi. Please, sit down. I hope the Lagos traffic didn't frustrate you too much. Simbi laughed lightly. Traffic is part of Lagos culture. If you haven't suffered in traffic, you're not a real Lagosian. Everyone laughed. User stared, captivated. Later that evening, User walked Simbi to her car. You know, he began, trying to sound smooth. My papa has good eye. I think you are really special. Simbi smiled politely. Thank you, but special is not enough. A woman needs respect, love, and peace in her home. User's smile flickered, but he quickly nodded. Of course, respect is my middle name. If lies could be cooked, that statement would have burned in the pot. Barely 3 months later, User and Simbi were married. The wedding was grand. Asoabi everywhere. MC cracking dry jokes. DJ blasting whiskets, Ojalegba. User felt on top of the world. He had married not just a beautiful woman, but one with class, education, and a good job. Friends clapped him on the back. Guy, you don hammer. Lawyer wife na jackpot-o. Even neighbors who once mocked him whispered, Chai, see fine couple. Maybe this woman fit chain jam. But if they thought marriage would calm User, they were wrong. Barely a month into marriage, User began shouting over small things. Simbi, why is my towel not hanging in the bathroom? Simbi, why is the rice not soft enough? Simbi, why did you greet my friend without kneeling? At first, Simbi endured quietly, thinking, maybe he is just stressed. But as days turned into weeks, the red flags grew bigger. One evening, frustrated and bruised after another argument, Simbi decided to confide in her father-in-law, Mr. Silas. She drove to Mr. Silas' house, sat down politely, and explained everything. Daddy, User has been very harsh. He raises his hand at me, shouts over small things. I thought maybe it's normal at first, but it's getting worse. Mr. Silas waved his hand dismissively. My dear, that's marriage. You must endure. Respect your husband. Don't provoke him. A man has the right to correct his wife. Simbi stared at him in disbelief. So you're saying if he beats me, it's my fault? Silas leaned back, sipping his gin. Yes, a stubborn woman will always collect beating. It is the way of life. Simbi left quietly that night, but inside her, a fire was lit. When Simbi returned home, User was waiting. So you went to report me to my father, eh? His voice shook with anger. Simbi's heart raced. I only wanted advice. Slap. The sound cracked like thunder. Simbi staggered, tears filling her eyes. User pointed at her menacingly. From today, you are not allowed to leave this house without my permission. You hear me? Simbi nodded silently, but inside, she was already planning her strategy. As usual, gossip spread like wildfire. Mama Ejima, chai. So even lawyer day chop slap? This life no balance. Auntie Ngozi. But wait, she too como. If Nami, not a carry law book, go police station straight. Mama Chica, don't mind her. Lawyer way supposed defend herself day chop slap for free. Wonders shall never end. They laughed, but Simbi wasn't laughing. The breaking point came one evening when User strolled in with 2 women, both giggling, clinging to his arms. Simbi, meet my friends. They will be staying the night, he announced arrogantly. Simbi's jaw dropped. In our matrimonial home? User sneered. Yes. And if you don't like it, the door is there. He shoved her aside. That night, after User pushed her aside and walked into the bedroom with his two girlfriends, Simbi sat alone in the living room. The TV was on, playing a Yoruba movie, but she wasn't watching. Her mind replayed every insult, every slap, every humiliation. So this is my life now? Me, Barrister Simbi Adeyemi, reduced to tears in my own home? A hot tear rolled down her cheek, but she wiped it off quickly. Then, slowly, her lips curved into a smile. User, you think you are smart, she whispered. But this is checkmate. You don't know who you married. That was the night she made her decision. The next day, while User was at work, Simbi went to Computer Village in Ikeja. Madam, na CCTV camera you day find, a young salesman asked. Chewing gum. Yes, but not big ones oh. I need small, hidden ones. The boy grinned knowingly. Ah, spy camera. No walla. He pulled out a set of tiny cameras disguised as wall clocks, smoke detectors, and even a power bank. Simbi bought 3 immediately. Madam, not for office or for house? The boy asked curiously. Simbi smiled thinly. For justice. When she got home, Simbi strategically planted the cameras. One inside the sitting room, hidden in the wall clock. One in the bedroom, tucked in a flower vase. One in the kitchen, disguised as a power adapter. As she finished setting them up, she whispered to herself, every slap, every insult, every disgrace, it will all be recorded. That evening, User returned home, already frowning. Simbi, why is this house dark? Can't you on light before I enter? I'm sorry, the bulb. Slap. Shut up. Excuse. Excuse. The camera in the wall clock blinked silently, recording everything. Later, User ordered food, tasted it, and spat it out. Are you trying to poison me? This stew is trash. He pushed the plate off the table. It shattered on the floor. Simbi quietly picked up the pieces, her heart racing. But this time, not from fear. From satisfaction. The evidence was stacking up. Outside, neighbors had grown used to hearing shouts from User's apartment. Mama Ejima, frying akara, shook her head. That User again. Every night not quarrel. Auntie Ngozi added. But this Simbi different oh. She too calm. Diana for Don Pack go long time. I no understand why lawyer day chop slap like gala. Mama Chica smirked. Maybe she day gather evidence. Who knows? They all laughed. If only they knew how right she was. One Saturday, Simbi's best friend Zainab came to visit. They sat in the sitting room, laughing and catching up. Zainab leaned closer. Simbi, tell me true. How you day cope with that man? I hear just say. Before she could finish, User walked in. His face immediately darkened when he saw Zainab. Simbi, who is this? Who told you to bring visitor to my house without asking me first? Simbi's smile faded. She's my friend. I just... Shut up. User barked. Come inside now. Simbi excused herself, whispering to Zainab. Please, just go. I'll call you later. In the bedroom, User pounced on her. How dare you embarrass me in front of a stranger? He slapped her twice, grabbed her arm so tightly it left bruises, and shoved her against the wall. The bedroom camera captured everything. Days later, User came home with 2 strange women again. Simbi, move from there. These are my friends. They're staying tonight, he said arrogantly. Simbi stood her ground this time. User, this is our home. You cannot. Before she could finish, he pushed her so hard she fell to the floor. The women laughed awkwardly, whispering to each other. Nawao, this man no day respect him wife. But User didn't care. He strutted into the bedroom with them, leaving Simbi humiliated on the floor. The sitting room camera blinked silently. That night, after User slept off, Simbi quietly gathered the memory cards from the cameras. She plugged them into her laptop and watched. Every slap, every insult, every humiliation. It was all there. Tears streamed down her face as she watched herself being abused. But for the first time, those tears turned into a smile. She whispered, User, your cup down full. A few days later, Simbi wore her lawyer's suit and drove to the police headquarters. She walked into the DPO's office confidently, laptop in hand. Good afternoon, sir, she greeted. My name is Barrister Simbi Adeyemi. I'm here to file a case of domestic violence. The DPO, a heavy-set man with glasses, leaned back in his chair. Madam, we get many of these cases. Sometimes husband and wife quarrel, nothing serious. Simbi smiled faintly. Sir, This one is serious. She plugged in her laptop and played the videos. The room fell silent as users' violence filled the screen. The DPO shook his head. Chai, this man not real animal. Madam, no worry. We go handle him. Simbi nodded. I want him arrested and prosecuted. I won't rest until justice is served. Meanwhile, user sat at home later that week, feet up, sipping cold beer. He whistled happily as he scrolled through his phone. In his mind, life was perfect. His wife was under control, his father was proud of him, and he was enjoying himself. Little did he know, the storm was already gathering. Friday evening, user was relaxing on the sofa, watching football. Suddenly, a loud knock thundered on the door. Bang, bang, bang. Who was that? He shouted. Open up. Police. User's heart skipped. He hesitated, then slowly opened the door. 4 officers barged in. Mr. User Silas, you are under arrest for domestic violence. He laughed nervously. Arrest? For what? You people day mad? Where's the proof? One officer pulled out a tablet, pressed play. On the screen, user watched himself slapping Simbi, pouring food, shouting insults. His jaw dropped. Well, what is this? Who recorded this? Simbi stepped out from behind the officers, arms folded. Her eyes blazed with quiet fire. I did. Before user could react, the officers grabbed him, handcuffed him, and began dragging him out. Leave me. I'm innocent. This is a setup, he shouted, struggling. Neighbors rushed out, phones in hand, recording the drama. Mama Chica shouted. User Don finally enter police hand. God Don catch him. Mama Ejima clapped her hands. Na video evidence finish him. I talk him say Simbi get plan. Children followed the officers, chanting like it was carnival. Police Don carry user 000. Police Don carry user 000. User, sweating and embarrassed, was shoved into the police van. The police van screeched to a halt in front of the divisional headquarters. Come down. One officer barked, yanking user by the arm. Officer, I beg, no drag me like that. I be respectable man. User protested, his pride already melting like ice in hot sun. The officer sneered. Respectable man way day beat woman like goat? Oya move front door. Neighbors who had followed on Okada gathered at the gate, still recording with their phones. Mama Chica shouted. CM. User, the mighty lion. Today na you day roar inside police station. Everyone laughed. User lowered his head in shame as he was pushed inside. Inside the station, the DPO sat behind his desk, spectacles perched on his nose. He watched User like a headmaster sizing up a stubborn student. Mr. User Silas, he began, we have overwhelming evidence against you. Videos, audio, even eyewitness testimonies. What do you have to say for yourself? User shifted uncomfortably. Sir, it's not as bad as it looks. Sometimes husband and wife day fight. Slap. This time it was not from his wife, but from a police officer standing guard. You day craze? Nah fight be this one. You for kill her since now your wife. The DPO raised a hand. Enough. Lock him up. Before user could speak, he was dragged away. The cell gate creaked open. Inside, about 8 men sat on the floor, some hardened criminals, some petty thieves, some unlucky victims of police walla. The smell was a mixture of sweat, urine, and hopelessness. The officer shoved user inside. New recruit. Una go enjoy am, he joked, slamming the gate shut. User looked around nervously. A tall, muscular inmate with tribal marks grinned at him. Welcome, fine boy. What didn't bring you here? User swallowed. Small misunderstanding with my wife. The whole cell burst into laughter. Another inmate shouted. Oh, nah wife beater we get today boys, Una here? He day beat woman. But here, nah men full ground. Make we show him same man pass man. They all roared with laughter again. User's stomach twisted. At night, lying awake, User thought about his life. He remembered his father's words. Never take nonsense from any woman. They are weaker vessels. He remembered Diana crying in the rain. He remembered Simbi trembling under his slap. For the first time, guilt crept into his chest. Was Papa wrong all along? Or is it me that is foolish? He turned on his side, trying to sleep, but the noise of mosquitoes and snores wouldn't let him. Tears stung his eyes, but he quickly wiped them before anyone noticed. A few days later, Simbi walked into the station, elegant as ever in her corporate suit. The officers greeted her respectfully. "Barrister, welcome, Ma." She nodded. "I'm here to see User." When User was brought out, handcuffed, his eyes widened in shock. "Simbi, you're the one who did this to me." Simbi folded her arms. "No, User. You did this to yourself. I only showed the world the truth." His voice cracked. "Please, withdraw the case. I beg you. I've suffered enough." Simbi's eyes hardened. "Did Diana not beg you? Did I not beg you? But you laughed and poured soup on us. Now you want mercy? User, enjoy your stay. Maybe you will learn." She turned and walked out, her heels clicking against the floor. User called after her, tears in his eyes. "Simbi, please, don't leave me here." "Simbi." But she never looked back. When Mr. Silas heard his son was in prison, he almost fainted. He rushed to the station, storming into the DPO's office. "Officer, how dare you lock up my son? Do you know who I am?" The DPO stared at him coldly. "Yes, you are the father of a woman beater. Sit down before I lock you too." Mr. Silas's mouth hung open. He had never been spoken to like that. When he finally saw User behind bars, dirty and broken, he felt something twist in his chest. "Son, I'm sorry. I didn't know it would come to this," he whispered. For the first time, Mr. Silas felt regret. That night after visiting User at the police cell, Mr. Silas couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned, memories flashing through his mind like scenes from a horror movie. He saw Salami's face, her swollen cheeks after a beating, her trembling hands as she served him food, her silent tears in the dark. He remembered the day she died, frail and broken, whispering her last words to User. "Don't be like your father. Love women. Respect them." But instead of listening, User had become a mirror of his own cruelty. Silas sat up in bed, holding his head. "Have I destroyed my own son?" As dawn broke, Silas sat outside on the veranda, staring blankly at the street. A neighbor's little boy ran past, laughing, and for some reason, it triggered another memory. Silas was transported back to his childhood. His own father, Chief Okafor, was a proud man who treated women like dirt. Silas's mother was constantly insulted and beaten. Chief Okafor would often bring women home, just like Silas later did. One evening, Silas overheard his father telling him, "Women are good for only two things: cooking and warming your bed. Never let them control you." That was the seed, and Silas, just like User, had carried it into adulthood. Now he realized the poison had simply passed from father to son, destroying generation after generation. Meanwhile, Simbi was not slowing down. She visited her lawyer friend, Tund, at his chambers. "Tund, I'm ready," she said firmly. "File the divorce papers. I want my freedom." Tund raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure? After everything, he might try to beg." Simbi cut him off. "He already begged, but it's too late. My mind is made up." A week later, papers were served. When User received them in his cell, he tore them up in anger, but inside, he felt a hollowness he couldn't explain. While the Silas family crumbled, Simbi's life blossomed. She took on high-profile cases, appeared on TV as a guest analyst, and even began giving lectures on women's rights. People admired her strength. She became a role model for young women who once thought marriage meant silent endurance. When asked in one interview how she found the courage, she replied, "I realized I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for every woman whose voice has been silenced." Back in prison, User was mocked daily by inmates. The nickname lawyer husband followed him everywhere. One night, after a particularly hard day, he sat in a corner, knees drawn up, whispering, "God, if you can hear me, please give me another chance. I don't want to die like this." But in his heart, he knew his old life was already gone. The rooster crowed somewhere far away, though inside the prison yard, time was meaningless. "Lawyer husband, wake up, I beg. Today not your turn to sweep cell." A fellow inmate barked, tossing a dirty broom at User. User groaned, his body aching from sleeping on the cold cement floor. He dragged himself up, took the broom, and began sweeping silently. As he swept, the men laughed and teased. "See his big man turn cleaner. Next time, beat woman again, nah. I'll be your hand on break." User clenched his jaw but said nothing. Once upon a time, he would have fought anyone who dared insult him. But now he was too broken. That afternoon, while inmates lined up for watery beans and stale bread, User sat beside an older man known as Baba Benro. The man was in his 60s, gray-bearded, calm, with a Bible always tucked under his arm. Rumor had it he was once a notorious armed robber, but had found Christ in prison. Baba Benro looked at User and said softly, "Young man, why are you here?" User muttered, "Small misunderstanding with my wife." Baba Benro chuckled. "Small misunderstanding? I saw your file. Nah, woman beating case. And you get evidence plenty like African magic series." User lowered his head in shame. Baba Benro continued, "You think you're a man because you can raise hand against a woman? Real men don't fight women. Real men have control over their anger." User blinked. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. That night, User lay awake, replaying Baba Benro's words. He saw Diana's tear-streaked face in the rain. He saw Simbi's defiant eyes as she said, "You did this to yourself." He saw his mother Salome, whispering, "Don't be like your father." Tears spilled from his eyes. For the first time in years, User whispered a prayer. "God, I don't know if you can still hear me, but if you can, please help me change. I don't want to be like Papa." The next visiting day, Mr. Silas came, carrying a small flask of jollof rice. When User saw him, anger flared up. "Papa, why are you here? To laugh at me?" Silas sighed. "No, my son. I came to see how you are coping." User spat bitterly. "I'm coping the way you taught me. You destroyed me, Papa. You planted poison in me." Silas's lips trembled. For the first time, his eyes filled with tears. "Son, I was wrong. I thought being a man meant control, but I see now, it was foolishness. Forgive me." User turned his face away, his heart torn between hatred and longing. Back in prison, User sat on the floor with a piece of paper and a borrowed pen. He began writing. "Dear Simbi, I don't know if you will ever read this. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need to tell you I am sorry. Sorry for every slap, every insult, every night I made you cry. I thought I was being a man, but I was just a coward repeating my father's mistakes. If I could turn back time, I would treat you like the queen you are. Even if you never come back, please know that prison has opened my eyes. From your once foolish husband, User." He folded the letter carefully, handing it to a guard to deliver. One evening, Simbi sat in her office, going through files, when the guard delivered User's letter. She hesitated before opening it. As she read, tears welled up. She wiped them quickly, whispering to herself, "Why now, User? Why after I've moved on?" Her heart ached, but she knew she couldn't go back. She folded the letter and tucked it away in her drawer. Days turned into weeks. Under Baba Benro's mentorship, User began changing. He started joining morning prayers, reading books, even helping younger inmates resolve quarrels without fighting. One day, when two inmates almost fought over Gary, User stepped between them. "Please, don't fight. We are all suffering already. Violence won't help." The men blinked in surprise. Was this the same User who once slapped women like flies? Slowly, his nickname in prison changed from lawyer husband to pastor User. One day, weeks before his release, the prison warden approached him. "User Silas, you have a visitor." When he walked into the visitor's room, his eyes widened in shock. It wasn't his father. It wasn't a lawyer. It was Simbi. She sat gracefully, her face unreadable. User's mouth went dry. His heart pounded. "Simbi," he whispered. She was radiant, dressed in a crisp white blouse and navy skirt. Her hair was neatly braided, her face calm. She looked like everything he had lost. Simbi looked him over quietly. He looked different. His arrogance was gone, his shoulders slumped. Finally, she spoke. "You look smaller." User swallowed hard. Prison will do that to a man. Silence stretched between them. Then User leaned forward, desperation in his eyes. "Simbi, I am sorry. For everything. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but please, I beg you, just give me another chance." Simbi's eyes glistened, but her voice was firm. "User, do you remember the night you slapped me for visiting your father? Or the day you brought women into our home and pushed me aside? Or when you told me I couldn't step out without your permission? Those scars don't vanish because of one apology." User buried his face in his hands. "I was a fool. I listened to Papa. I thought being a man meant breaking you. But prison has taught me. Real strength is control." Simbi studied him for a long moment. Inside her chest, her heart ached. Part of her wanted to hug him, but another part screamed, "Don't forget the pain." Finally, she said softly, I'm glad you're changing, user. But we can't go back. That chapter is closed. User's tears spilled. Please, just don't give up on me entirely. Simbi stood up, picked her bag, and whispered, I'm not your enemy, but I'm no longer your wife. She walked out, leaving User trembling with regret. Weeks passed. User's sentence was nearing its end. He had transformed so much that even the prison wardens respected him. Inmates now came to him for advice. He was no longer lawyer husband. He was brother User. One evening, the warden told him, You're getting out of here tomorrow. Better live right, or not here you go die next time. User smiled faintly. I won't be back. I promise. The next morning, User walked out of the prison gates, free at last. Waiting by the roadside was Simbi's car. She stepped out slowly, her eyes meeting his. The air crackled with tension. Neighbors who had heard of his release peeked from afar, whispering. User's lips trembled. Simbi. Simbi crossed her arms. This is your chance to prove if you've truly changed. Don't waste it. User nodded, tears threatening again. Thank you for watching. Please stick to this channel. We have beautiful videos coming your way.